Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining Withum today. We have a great presentation in store for you all. Before we begin, I just have a few housekeeping items to cover. First, you will all be on mute during the session. However, at the bottom of the toolbar, you will see a chat box. We encourage you to ask questions during the session, which our speaker will try to answer them all at the end of their presentation. Please note you are also eligible to receive 1 CPE credit by being attentive throughout the webinar and answering all of our poll questions. You will receive your certificate via email within the coming days. And lastly, this session will also be recorded for future reference, and a link to it will be provided to all attendees. Feel free to share any additional thoughts and reach out to us via email at events@withum.com at any time. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to today's speaker. We are so excited to have Sumaiya Alam-Stribling with us today. She is a senior consultant in Withum's management consulting practice and has extensive experience with ERP systems, including Sage Intacct. Sumaiya, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the call today. I am super excited to be here with you guys and share all the R3 updates with you. I bring to you 10 years of industry experience, which includes accounting, finance, ERP implementation, and banking. I love Intacct. I've been using Intacct for almost 6 years now. I absolutely love helping my clients how they can maximize the use of Intacct, basically. So this is our learning objectives for today. Recognize new release feature for your business solution. Demonstrate the new user experience and navigate to ease. Manage the latest release of the solution to maximize its potential. This is a quick snapshot of our agenda for today. We have a pretty packed agenda. This release was actually a really wonderful release. There were a lot of updates, a lot of new features, a lot of early adopters as well. So we'll be pretty busy in the next hour. I would like to get started with the Intacct module updates, and then after that, I will focus on the specific industry updates, which includes construction, healthcare, not-for-profit, and Sage Intacct real estate. So let's get started. The first is company and admin. Data delivery service. DDS provides the ability to configure the number of decimal places used in rounding your data. The default is obviously 2 decimal places. However, with this new release, you would be able to add as many decimal places as you need. In general, this will increase the data accuracy for your business. The document numbering redesign. So the document numbering page has been redesigned to make it a little more user-friendly and have everything in one spot. So let's take a look in Intacct how this is going to look. Here in Intacct, I would go to Company, Setup, Document Sequence, and then I would just add 1 document sequence, and you can see, so now everything is in one spot. Before there were 2 tabs, and you kind of had to click through back and forth. Now we eliminate that, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I do. Create 1. So this is how it's going to look like, and once it's done, you just hit save. So that's super nice. Enhanced email delivery and insight. The enhanced email delivery service is available as an early adopter program. This feature supports for DKIM authentication that ensures that the emails are delivered to the intended recipients quickly and reliably. Also, on top of that, the enhanced email insights provide you with the detailed visibility into your delivery status of your email. By signing up for this service, you can streamline your email communication and gain variable insights, everything from within Intacct. So if you would like to sign up for this, feel free to sign up. This is a good add-on for sure. Accounts payable. Vendor approval. This is, I think, the much awaited feature, right? And I'm super excited to announce that this is finally here. The vendor approval is available within Intacct. Before I get started, I would like to mention that note on the side that this idea came from you. highly encourage you guys to log into the community and keep submitting those ideas, because they do listen and it does come out, right? So here is a good example, like the vendor approval. I would actually like to demo this in Intacct, so let's go and take a look. So the first thing first, in terms of setting this up, we would go to company, admin, user, and whoever you want to give access. I'll just pick myself for now. Under the role, you will see that. So basically how this works is, here is the approved vendors, right? So you just need to click list, and whoever have this list option checked on will have the ability to approve the vendors, basically. So you don't have to assign, there is not a spot where you assign a particular individual. You'll have to go to their role and permission and then assign them as the list user. Once that is done, the next step is to go to accounts payable, setup, configuration, and then I'm going to do my Control F, and then here it is. So I have the vendor enable vendor approval, and you can set up your email notification as well if you want to be notified via email. Once that is set up, you will see that here there is the approved vendor, and here is I have one vendor in my approval queue. So if you can view it and take a look. And then once it's done, you could go ahead and put your comments. Looks good. And then approve. Okay. And then let's take a look how this looks in Intacct. So here's the history. It kind of outlines that who created this, when was this submitted, submitted by, approval date, approver, and the action and comments. The other thing that I would like to show is if you actually make change to your vendor. So this is a good example where I actually updated the vendor and it shows as submitted. So it would go to the approver, whoever is approving. Once you do that, it doesn't say actually what the update was made, but you can, if you go to more actions and view audit trail, you would be able to see that under the modified. So I actually changed the state. It was New York and I changed it to Arizona. So even if it doesn't show up in here, it does show up in the audit trail, which is super nice. Like I said, super excited that this feature is available in Intacct. I know this was really requested by, pretty much everyone. So hopefully you guys can utilize this feature. Back to our PowerPoint. AP automation. So the AP automation was launched in R1 release of this year. For those of you who are not utilizing the AP automation, I would definitely mention to look into it. It is actually free till end of September, so you could use the product and see if you like it or not. After September, they're actually going to start charging for it. They have made some enhancements on the AP automation, which includes user now who are restricted by entity or department can upload bill from the bill list. Previously, the upload option was not available for restricted user. However, now it is. User with entity restriction can upload bills at the entity level to the entities that they're not restricted. In terms of the department restrictions, user with department restriction and no entity restriction can upload bill at the top level and entity level. If you're one of those users who have department and entity restriction, you can upload bills in the entities where you're not restricted. Our next is navigate to invoice from billback bills. If your company uses inter-entity billback, you will have the ability to drill into invoice details directly from the bill that was created with the billback with this release. Let's take a look how this works. So the first thing first, we have to make sure that we configure the billback feature. So we're going to go to accounts receivable, configuration, Here's the inter-entity bill back. I have this turned on, and you can have the bill posted directly. The next thing is obviously make sure that the users have proper permissions in terms of the bill back, which would be managed through accounts receivable. So here, accounts receivable, and then you would need to make sure that the user have the bill back template. After that, the next step would be to create the bill back template. I actually have a template created. It's pretty straightforward. It just, for the invoice, it hits the intercompany revenue account, and for the bill, it hits the expense account for professional fees. Once that's done, I will go ahead and create a quick invoice. It's a pretty straightforward invoice. I have my customer, and then I did all my dimensions. Once it's done, here is the bill number. So I can actually see the bill even from the invoice and vice versa. So I can see that this bill was created in AP, and then I can go back to AP bills. And then I can click on the invoice number and see my invoice. So that's super nice, gives us an extra clarity, couple of less clicks, which is always nice. With that being said, we are on to our first polling question.
Thanks, Sumaiya. The first polling question is, users who are restricted by entity or department cannot upload bills from the bills list, true or false? I'll leave this up for about a minute and then we'll continue.
This is a little bit of a tricky question.
About 10 more seconds. Please get your answers in.
Awesome. Alexis, do you want to share the results?
Yes, so we had 59% of folks say true, and then 41% of folks say false.
Awesome. Okay, so users who are restricted by entity or department cannot upload bills. So this is actually a false. They can. I know it was a little tricky. Awesome. The next slide is consolidation. Advanced consolidation. So in the past, the consolidation module assumed 100% ownership. Minority interest and investment in subsidiaries with this new release can be part of the consolidation by entering the percentage of ownership within the consolidation module. This will make the reporting of the consolidation so much cleaner and easier to maintain, giving stakeholders a big picture view of your organization. The advanced consolidation is an add-on module, but it does have a lot of benefits to it. A couple of them is avoid time-wasting corrections and minimize complexity with automated consolidation with a more accurate view of your finances to your business. You can make better informed decisions regarding investments, resource allocation, and strategic planning. You're able to streamline workflow, saving time and reduce the risk of errors. So if you are utilizing the consolidation module within Intacct, I would encourage you to look into the advanced consolidation where you're able to partial ownership via tiered consolidation. Please let us know if you have any questions. Budget and planning. Sage Intacct Planning. Simple, affordable, yet powerful cloud-based solution to help streamline the budgeting cycle all in one place. This is, as mentioned, this is a cloud-based solution. A couple of benefits: eliminate the need for multiple versions of spreadsheet, eliminate the need for emailing the spreadsheet for approval back and forth, have several versions where you kind of forget which version you were working on. Allow for forecasting throughout the year. A couple of key features with the SIP is full and partial budget sharing, integrates into Sage Intacct, financial model with formulas, allow with what-if scenarios, and ability to forecast and create multiple versions all in cloud. Every release, I like how Intacct is making some enhancements with the SIP. With this release, the enhancements that was made is user will have the ability to choose one of the following options when you're saving your file. Duplicate or save your working budget only, select specific version include, or include all versions. So that is super nice. Dashboards. The SaaS Intelligent Dashboard is available to more regions, which includes Australia, Canada, Ireland, South Africa, and United Kingdom. This is add-on dashboard functionality. However, it does highlight like growth, retention, unit economics, ARR, cash, audit, etc. If this is something you are interested in, feel free to look into it and let us know if you have any questions. Accounts receivable. There has been a lot of updates on accounts receivable. Most of them are early adopter. Consolidated payments for multiple customers. This is being launched as an early adopter program to support single payments for multiple customers. To me, when I look at this is a huge time saver, right? This is useful when you receive single payments but need to apply the payments to invoice from different customers. A good example would be insurance company submits a single payment for multiple patients at a faculty. I know personally a lot of the clients where they receive a single payment and now they're allocating it and applying it to multiple customer one by one. So with this new feature, you would be able to apply the payments to multiple customer. If you are one of those business who are doing that, I recommend you guys to sign up for the early adopter. It is free. There is no cost associated to it, and I think it would be a wonderful time saver for your company. Document sequencing payment. You can track payments more easily with document sequencing for account receivable payments. Let's take a look how this works. So you would go to account receivable, setup, config. Under payments. So here it is. So I have this already configured, but I'll quickly show you. I just did the payments, and like we mentioned before that, everything is in one spot now. Once this is done, when you actually receive your payment under posted payments, you will see how there is a new payment ID. So that's pretty slick. I'm glad that this is available now with this release. Apply payment from invoice list. With this release, you will have the ability to apply payment from invoice list directly in a multi-entity environment. Previously, this was not available. Let's take a look in Intacct. So accounts receivable invoices, this is a multi-entity environment, and now you can see that there is the apply payment option. I also would like to mention that last release, they updated where if you go in accounts payable and in the bill list, you were able to pay from the bill list in the multi-entity environment. With that being said, we are on to our next polling question.
Great. Our next question is, can you apply payments from the invoices list in a multi-currency company? True or false?
I can tell you guys are paying attention. I see all the answers coming in.
Yes, about 10 more seconds, everyone. So we have the majority of folks saying true, which is the correct answer.
That is the correct answer. Good job, guys. The next is cash management. Couple of good updates on cash management as well. Bank transaction enhancement. Easily and quickly assign customer to bank transaction and then receive multiple payments for multiple customer, all from the bank transaction page. When I think of this, I think that this is also going to be another time saver. If you're utilizing the bank feed in Intacct, highly encourage you guys to sign up for an early adopter on this. After you receive the payment, the posted payments in Sage Intacct and the bank transaction automatically will match for the reconciliation. So that would be a nice time saver for the reconciliation. This feature is available for multi-entity, multi-currency companies. You can also utilize this for receive payments, advances at the entity level as well. Centralized bank transaction import, another early adopter. Previously, you could only import bank transactions during reconciliation. These transactions would not remain in Sage Intacct, and after the reconciliation has been finalized, you would kind of lose them basically. However, with this release, there is a centralized location for importing transaction for all bank accounts and transactions remain in Sage Intacct, even after the reconciliation. I think this is huge, right? Because if you have to reopen your reconciliation, now you have everything already in Intacct and you don't have to re-import the transactions and you don't lose your work and things like that. So I think this is amazing, and I'm glad that this is finally here. They also support like multiple file format to give you a little extra flexibility, and you can also increase control who imports the bank transaction with a new permission and view list for all the import activity for added insights. So that's really nice. Again, highly encourage you guys to be an early adopter on this. I truly think that this is going to be a wonderful time saver for your company. A niche update on the UK bank file. Until now, UK bank file payments only supported payments in GBP currency. With this release, it actually supports the euro currency as well, and you can pay them with the SEPA bank file format, which was part of the last release. Contracts. I think this is a really, really nice update. I mean, you can see the smile on my face. The sales revenue recognition on the invoice contract line. Before I get started on what it does, I would like to mention that note this idea came from you. Again, submit those ideas in the community because they do listen to you, and this is a good example. Here it is. So what if you do not need to defer revenue and simply want to record revenue when you bill a contract line? There is a new enable revenue recognition on invoice field in the contract section of the configure revenue management page. Let's take a look in Intacct how this works. This is my contract demo. So I'm going to go to company subscription. This is how the subscription page looks like. And then I'm going to look for revenue management, configure. Here is this option, enable revenue recognition on revenue. So before you turn it on, I would encourage you guys to read about it a little bit, because as you can see, I have it turned on and it kind of grays out, so I can't turn it off. So something to keep in mind. Once it is turned on, you can go under contracts. Let's take a look. Here's contracts, and this is the contract. So I'll just show you how it looks like on the contract line. Honestly, it looks pretty similar to how the contract line is. This actually works with the billing template, which is fixed and quantity based. And then my billing template is just monthly 1 year. And in terms of the revenue, you can see that I have the revenue selected as recognized on revenue. So once you select that, your regular revenue recognition option goes away. Like you can't use a template. Here is a, yep, so it just shows the recognize on revenue as the template basically, instead of assigning a different revenue template. And then once that is done, the next step is to generate invoice. Preview, and then generate invoice. Okay, here is the invoice run, and here is my contract invoice. There isn't anything changed in the contract invoice page, but what actually did change is the contract journals and the transaction history. So let's go take a look at the journal balances. So as you can see here, to see how the deferred revenue is just blank because we're not deferring the revenue basically. So here's the sales revenue. And then the other thing that I would like to point out is the on create. So you'll see how the on create is hitting accounts receivable and then on recognition is just hitting revenue. This is a little different from the general contract if you recognize as a deferred revenue. Let me show you a good example. Get it. So here is the transaction history. And then here you would see like the on create would actually hit like deferred revenue and account receivable. But for this one, it just hits account receivable. And so as for on recognition. So that's all with the contract update, but again, super excited about this. We were waiting for this for a while. And this just kind of how outlines what I went through on our demo. The next update is general ledger. In multi-entity system, we recommend working at the top level if possible, but if you need to work at the entity level, you can now restrict the creation of general ledger restriction to the entity level. The option to restrict GL restriction to the entity level is new and goes with an existing option that lets you restrict subledger transactions to entity level. There is also another option to do the reverse. Restrict transaction to the top level. Together, these options give you flexibility and control over where the transactions are created. So let's take a look in Intacct. So if you go to company subscription, and then multi-entity management. Let me just try a different demo. Subscription. Here's my configure. Here you can see, I actually don't have any of those turned on because this is my demo, but you could select, restrict access to top level only, restrict GL ledger, general ledger transaction to entity only. This is the new add-on, and then this was available previously too. So utilize these options to restrict top level versus entity level as you need. Exclude adjustment option. Control whether adjustments are included in the trial balance report using a new exclude adjustment option. So if you are trying to run the trial balance, you will see under the format section that there is an exclude adjustment option available, where if you check that, it will exclude all the adjustments that you are processing. This option is especially useful if your company does not process adjustments because it simplifies the report without reducing the information that the report contains. With that being said, we are on to our next polling question.
Thanks, Maya. Our next question is, what are the benefits of an AMS program? 3 different options. 1, discounted hourly rate. 2, system optimization. Or 3, you're not sure what an AMS program is.
I'm excited to see you guys' answer on this.
Ten more seconds left to get your responses in. Thanks, everyone. Looks like system optimization got the most votes, but we definitely have a mixed bag here.
Awesome. Yep. System optimization. I mean, there is no correct answer to this, to be honest. But system optimization is what I would have selected. Awesome. The next is inventory control. With Sage Intacct inventory automation, employee use cell phone devices to capture data at the point of activity for increased efficiency and accuracy. So obviously, this is the inventory automation is an add-on module within inventory. The new advanced kit assembly add-on module automates kit building and offers several benefits, such as it prompts to select you the correct components and quantity. It supports finished goods and components tracked by lot number, serial number, and expiration date. Supports bin location tracking, backflash option, which is always nice, and compatible with cell phone printing. That's pretty neat too. So if this is something, if you're using the inventory module currently in Intacct and this is something you are interested in exploring, please let us know. Improved prevention of negative inventory. This is a pretty interesting update, actually. So if you turn off the negative inventory checkbox, users cannot backdate a transaction if that would result in a negative inventory amount. So for a good example would be like if you purchase 100 units on Monday and then you purchased another 50 units on Wednesday, you can't create a transaction to sell 150 units backdating for Tuesday, because in this case, you're still negative 50 on quantity. So that's pretty interesting, I think. Again, if you're utilizing the inventory module and running into this type of issues, definitely something to check into and see if that would help out your business. Payroll. The Sage Intacct payroll and human capital management powered by ADP. So this was launched like 2 releases ago, I would say, and it is available to all US companies. Honestly, I personally love this because like it's all in one spot, and that's what I love about this feature. So a good example would be like employee ads and changes automatically sync to Intacct. Now you don't have to track all your employee changes in your payroll software and then go to Intacct, try to make those updates and change, and that's too cumbersome. Or even build a custom integration around your payroll software to Intacct, so it helps you time. With this, it just automatically syncs, which is great. Dimensions and time expense report automatically sync to Sage Intacct as well, which is also nice. They have made a couple of enhancements with the product. The first one is timekeeping kiosk. The timekeeping kiosk is a traditional time clock, and the app works with both Android and iOS devices. The timekeeping kiosk provides multiple ways to authenticate users, such as face recognition, employee ID, fingerprint print scan, and users can also set up voice comments. Pretty slick. The other is the voice of employee. You can collect feedback from employees and gauge their sentiments throughout the employee lifecycle. And then the last one is the HR Assist, which you'll get a dedicated support team of experienced certified HR professionals providing expertise and documentation for HR operations. The next slide is purchasing, match tolerances. This is another interesting update. So you would be able to take control of outgoing payments and make sure that your organization pays the proper amount of what you ordered. So let's take a look. Obviously, in terms of configuring, you have to go to purchasing setup, and then you would turn this on, enable match tolerance. So in this scenario, I have for my transaction definition, I have for PO, the quantity tolerance percentage is only 10%, but the price tolerance is 0. And then for vendor invoice, it's 0, and then the price tolerance is 10%. So now when I'm sending a purchase order for, Now when I'm sending the purchase order desk for 50 quantity at a unit price of 100, which extends to $5,000, now when I convert that to a pure receipt, I just sent out 50 quantity instead of 48 quantity instead of 50. So my price actually went down. However, my quantity tolerance is within range. My range is 10%, and this is like -4%. Then once I am converting it from purchase receipt to vendor invoice, the vendor actually comes back and they mention that, hey, there was a mistake on the price. The actual price of the unit is 115 and not 100. So this now the extended price amount changes, and the extended price changes to 15%. So what does this do when it actually hits the 15%? The vendor invoice will not be posted and the AP bill will not be created because the 10% price tolerance is exceeded in this case. The vendor invoice is saved and it's stated and needs to be changed to exception so that it is flagged, which is pretty nice actually. So if you are, for example, if you have a department manager, you can now the department manager can come into place and they can see the exception because it was flagged. To complete the workflow, you can edit the vendor invoice to override the exception. You can click the override exception button and the transaction will be posted and the bill will be created. So this is great in terms of segregation of duty. The same example for the department manager, if you want to be in the loop, you can come in and actually see what is going on and you can override the exception, which also provides great internal controls as well. Reporting. Interactive Custom Report Writer update. So for those of you who doesn't know, the Interactive Custom Report Writer is an add-on module within Sage Intacct. With this release, they have made some updates which you're able to apply XML and retain all the formatting. You can add a column, modify a text, rename a column, reorder views, and delete a column. In this example that I'm showing, I actually have I'm modifying the text. I have the month name, the month and the year spelled incorrectly. And then with the update, I was able to change the name to the correct spelling. So when you create an ICRW report, it automatically generates XML. The XML has everything that you need to modify the report and retain formatting, such as column orders, visual appearances, prompt, etc. So this is a pretty neat update, I think. The next is Sage Intacct CRM. Integration update, reset field mapping defaults. The advanced CRM integration now allows you to return field mapping to their default settings. Resetting the defaults can be useful if you need to rework your field mapping settings when someone has changed for your integration, right? This actually only works with the standard field mappings and not in the custom field mapping. I'm so glad that this option is available now where you're able to reset your field mappings to default. Now you won't run into issues where if someone just reset the mapping by mistake, you don't lose anything, right? You have this option to kind of, as your saving grace. The next is the Intacct Contracts Kit Sync. The advanced CRM integration supports syncing contract kit items from Intacct to Salesforce. However, everything needs to be managed through Intacct and the renewal contract that use the kit item. All the sync actions are done automatically for you, which is also nice. With that being said, we are on to our next polling question.
Thanks, Maya. The question is, what CRM are you currently using? Either Salesforce, HubSpot, Microsoft, or a different one? All right, another 10 more seconds till we close. Looks like we have a couple of Salesforce and Microsoft users, but most of you are using a different CRM system.
Awesome. Our next topic is projects. Project Budget Insight. I am super excited for this, honestly. If you are using project module in Intacct, you would be able to see under the project summary where you can add your budget. And you could also default an account group in your budget as well. And the account group includes like cost, revenue, cost of goods sold. So that is pretty nice. I do want to highlight that this idea came from you, which is amazing. That's a great idea. It basically, as you can see in the screen, it kind of tells you like the budget difference, your budgeted amount. So that's pretty slick. Next is time and expense. I love how Intacct is making a lot of updates in their time and expense. Sage Intelligent Time Enhancements. SET is an AI-powered timesheet solution for tracking time against project. The AI smartly gathers and organizes activities during your workday. There is a lot of benefits to SET. If you are interested in knowing a little bit more about it, catch me on my podcast, which is coming out on this Friday. There were, like I said, there are a couple of enhancements that were made. You are able to upload attachments, files to your timesheet. Managers can now create and edit timesheet on behalf of their employees, which is huge because if you have one of those employees who forget to update their timesheet, like I am sometimes, your manager can go in and update your timesheet. Or if you have employees who have to take time off suddenly, due to family emergency or things like that, this feature is amazing. You can also reorganize the time entry page for clarity, and there is a couple of added additional fields as well. The embedded experience for Sage Intelligent Time. This is a really, really nice update. So this allows you to directly manage the SET from the time and expense or the project module in Intacct. So you'll have everything in one spot. By embedding the SET with Intacct, users can effortlessly manage projects and leverage the AI-powered timesheet solution all in one spot. Huge efficiency and optimize the user experience. I will highly encourage you guys to sign up for this early adopter if you are utilizing the time and expense module and the SET. Bank file update. If you use bank file, you can now use them in the time and expense module as well to pay employee expense reimbursement. The time and expense streamline your company's expense reporting, approval, and reimbursement process. After an expense report is approved, you can select the employee expenses to reimburse and generate the bank file. Instruction. Write compliance document for vendor. So if you are, now we're going into the specific industry updates. Ensure that your vendor provide the required compliance document before you pay them. This is huge for construction industries, right? The vendor compliance subscription, this is actually included with your ongoing construction subscription. So there is no added cost associated with this. It helps you track compliance related document such as proof of liability, insurance, or business license. So let's take a look in Intacct how this works. Oops. Apologize. I need to, looks like it signed me out. Sorry guys, for some reason it's just not working, but basically I would send you guys some screenshot on this, but it is available under company subscription and it's only available for the construction module, so it's not available on a regular demo. But you can sign this up and you can turn it on for free, and basically it would look like, let me just go back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so once you turn it on, it's going to look like this basically. So you would have to set up your compliance ID, your compliance definition name, and the compliance category. The setup could take some time. It is a little intense, I would say that, but definitely worth it. And the end goal is when you actually view the vendor bill from the pay bill screen error, it will actually give you an error or a warning that will appear in the vendor compliance column. So there, when you pay the bill, it would actually add a vendor compliance column and it would show you warning or error, which is very nice. And it would also tell you if you're missing documents or the documents are expired. So that's super nice. Encourage you guys to utilize this feature as it is already included within the construction module. Enhancements in Sage Field Operation. So the Sage Field Operation syncs seamlessly with Sage Intacct, whether you're in office or you're in the field. Office staff have the minute information for schedule, and the cell phone app provides your team in the field with the critical information that you need when they need it. Sage Intacct Operation is available for Sage Intacct customers in Apple Store and in Google Play Store. So obviously some of the enhancements include for the cell phone app is you're able to create codes and service reports, enter a time punch for job and miscellaneous assignment, enter time punch for work orders as well. The web version had a lot more updates, which includes reverse and order entry invoice by converting it to an adjustment. You can manage inventory by specific where parts added to a work order, and automatically create a new Sage Intacct project for every work order. So this is very nice. Processing multiple invoice in one batch, and you're able to link your Sage Field Operation employee records to Sage Intacct, which is also a wonderful time saver. With that being said, we are on to our last polling question.
Great. The question is, vendor compliance is available in Sage Intacct modules such as projects, construction, contracts, or all of the above.
This is a tricky question.
Keep those answers coming in. We have about 15 seconds left. All right, most of you said all of the above, but the correct answer here is construction.
Yes, like I said, it was a tricky question. This is only available for the construction module. That's it. And that's why I couldn't show you guys in my contract demo, because it wasn't available. So I know this was a tricky question. Healthcare, EMR Connect. Integrate EMR Connect with Sage Intacct to simplify the process of moving general ledger data from your EMR system to Intacct. This is huge, right? I think we all have been waiting for this. There is several benefits to it. You're able to save time by scheduling automatic data imports, take advantage of comprehensive Intacct reporting using financials, clinical, and statistical data for a complete view of your organization's health, and you're able to connect multiple data source if your healthcare organization uses more than one EMR. So this is great, and I'm glad that this is finally here with this release. The next is not-for-profit. Another integration for not-for-profit would be FACTS integration. You're able to integrate FACTS with Sage Intacct to streamline your financial process so that you can focus on educating students, right? An integration between FACTS has several benefits such as real-time insights, increased efficiency, more visibility to your data, improvements in Sage Intacct Mateo. So this is for the church and the not-for-profit organizations. It's a solution to support their savings and their loan program for parishes and schools. With this release, user can now export all their list, which includes customer list, vendor list, statement list, and savings and loan account list. Next slide is Sage Intacct Real Estate. So the Sage Intacct Real Estate has new features to provide greater transparency and help you stay up to date with your company's financial matter. Again, this is an add-on module within the Sage Intacct, but there were a couple of changes and enhancements that they added with this release. I will go over a few of them, such as added a pop-up notification to alert you about your management fees or late charges associated with your properties. Will keep you updated on important financial matters. A new management fee, you would be able to preview journal display more information about your fees and invoices used to generate. So there is a lot of updates. Obviously, it's faster, it's easier to use, it's very user-friendly, that it provides you more flexibility and more control. If this is something, especially for the construction clients, if you have real estate projects, definitely something to look into, as it is really nice and it does integrate with Sage Intacct pretty good. Taxes is our next slide. A niche update on the UK tax update. Visibility to your company's net tax by paying, it is very important to have the visibility on the taxes. With this release, you can access this information when you install the VAT 100 custom report. So this actually comes with the Sage Intacct package. So you just have to go in the Sage Intacct custom package and download this, and the report and the dashboard will let you see the VAT return without having to close the books, and actually you're able to run a tax submission as well. The user experience. So the vendor enhancement, I would actually like to show this to you guys in Intacct. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, so the vendor enhancement is basically, this was launched, I think, a couple of releases ago. So you go to accounts payable, vendor, there's this option, turn on list beta interfere. And then this actually gives a very user-friendly view. The nice thing about this is you can actually move your columns, which is super nice. You could, set on advanced filters and advanced criteria. You could even freeze column, which is very nice. You could sort them, you could freeze your column. The other thing that is super nice about this is you could see the vendor detail, and here's your list of the vendors, and it also provides you the detail of the vendors. So super user-friendly. In order to turn it on, like I showed you, you just have to turn that on, and it is actually per user, so every user needs to turn it on, otherwise they won't see it. And if you like the feature, I do request you to send a feedback to Intacct saying that loving it. hopefully they bring this with within other modules such as, customers, project, contracts, so on. As you have noticed that there were some interfere label changes, and Sage Intacct is continually changing the UI label for clarity and consistency. So these were the changes that were made with this release. Help and training. Obviously, the Intacct help is one of the best help and training. I think I utilize it a lot myself, to be honest. So if you go under the basic, and now there is a glossary where you could where there is definition of words and terms within the Sage Intacct ecosystem. Also, I would like to mention that I use the search. I absolutely love the search. I just utilize the search a lot. So feel free to take a look at the help and the training. And then navigate Sage Intacct University, which, I think 2 releases ago, Sage Intacct changed from Sage Learning to Sage University. It is a lot more robust. It provides, it's a home that provides you a lot of learning and a customized learning based on your role in your job. So it is very nice. Here is a quick snapshot of our Withum AMS program. We have our 3-step approach, which includes onboarding, account management, financial, and operation excellence. We really help you to optimize your system and the use of your ERP solution. Awesome. With that being said, any questions? We're pretty much on time, and we have 4 minutes left. Do you guys have any questions or anything?
A reminder, if you do have any questions, please use the chat box on the right hand of your screen to submit them.
I know Alexis mentioned that, but I would like to mention that you guys will get the recording and the deck sent out to you. So if you guys do think of more questions, just let us know and I would be happy to answer. Oh, I think did we get one question? How will the CPE be provided?
Yes, so if you answered all of our poll questions today and remained active throughout the webinar, you will get your CPE credit emailed to you this week.
That's awesome. Awesome, guys. I mean, if there is no other question, thank you again so much for attending. It was great. It was such a pleasure sharing all the R3 updates with you. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And please catch me on my podcast that's coming up on this Friday, where I would share my favorite updates from the R3 release. Thank you again. Bye. Take care.